Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ready Layer 1, a crypto podcast that focuses on the NEAR ecosystem. And this is our weekly rundown. Joe, what's the title?
Who Sharded? Episode 2.
I don't know if that'll ever not get funny.
Right.
And this is a very important episode, or a very special episode, because we are doing it in partnership with NEARWEEK. So this episode will be powered by NEARWEEK.
I'm excited. I mean, they put out a great newsletter every single week. They really do a great job of collecting the news around the ecosystem, and so they're going to help power Who Sharded.
And in today's episode, in a bear market, so much is going on in the NEAR ecosystem. We've got the NEAR Foundation's vision for the future, which was really interesting. We got NEARWEEK launching Twitter Spaces. We've got meta transactions on NEAR bringing fee-less experiences. SailGP launched an NFT.
Yeah, we also have the Sender wallet getting an upgrade with the HAPI security protocol. NEAR is updating their wiki, and it's kind of like a relaunch. The NEAR Foundation is funding a social project. And then we also have some other wallet stuff and talking about Octopus Network and them being featured in one of the African blockchain reports. So, and we dive into kind of stake wars and some other things too.
And Joe, just two little, I think at the beginning of these episodes, just two little price checks, or not even price checks, just two little data points. One,
Yep.
NEAR is, around $3 to $4, whatever,
Yep.
bear market. I don't think about that too much.
Yep.
But a statistic that I think is really awesome is that there are 15 million wallets now made.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, we're now, I feel like we were, just talking about 10 million wallets not too long ago. I mean, the growth is really accelerating, which is not only just adding a lot more wallets, it's actually going at a really nice pace of addition. So probably due to, some of these bigger apps that are onboarding like Sweatcoin, I'm sure something like Armored Kingdom probably is helping a lot too, some of these games. But yeah, 15 million wallets, I mean, we're certainly growing around here.
Absolutely. And if this whole GameFi thing comes in the wave that I hope it does, these wallets are going to start increasing, especially if people need to have the wallet to play the game. It's going to be
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
fun. Excited for
Yeah.
that. All right, so let's just jump into this week's rundown. All right, so the first thing, NEAR Foundation dropped their new vision for the future.
Yep.
And Joe, what do you think about that? I personally really liked it. What about you?
Yeah, me too. I mean, they are, something that we've harped on, over time as through all our episodes is that NEAR has been really conscious about long-term growth and not trying to sacrifice things in the short term just to get kind of quick pops of, growth and acceleration. And so the components that they're talking about of this large expansive ecosystem that includes a lot of different players is really an important piece, and I think it's something to really look forward to.
Yeah, I think that's something with NEAR that I've always been really impressed by since the beginning. They don't chase, like, they didn't just do like growth marketing and try to get as many users without having the foundation and stuff built.
Yeah.
And I really, the longer I like pay attention here, I'm hoping it's really intentional because that'd be great. And the thing I liked about the NEAR mission, or the NEAR Foundation mission, is, and people should check this out. The links will all be on NEARWEEK. We'll link to NEARWEEK below. But it's the verticals are DeFi, digital cooperatives, and creator economy, which I like all that. It
Yep.
talks about the infrastructure, which is, people should go check it out. I don't need to go through it. And then also the major nodes. And I think that right there, when looking at it, really makes me see like, okay, cool. They've thought out like how to create a platform to that
Mhm.
build things on top of.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the thing where they've really taken again it's care about sustainability to build on top of this entire infrastructure where again and there's arguments you can make where maybe they could accelerate things a little bit more, maybe they're being a little bit conservative at times, and so maybe that's where you see some of the volume not as accelerate as maybe some other chains have in the past. But if their mission and their long-term goal clearly is about onboarding 1 billion users, and to get there, you have to have all those pieces in place in order to actually succeed at that. You can't just go super fast and try to hype everything up and pull people in. So this does feel very intentional, and I think they certainly have given a lot of thought to it.
Absolutely. And then another article I think will be really cool, or check. And, Joe, what's cool is that NEARWEEK is starting to branch out, right? They're partnering with our podcast, but they're also doing NEARWEEK Twitter Spaces. Yeah, they had one this week that was with Ref Finance talking about USN and the differences because right now algo stablecoin since the UST
Yep.
have been a little out of favor. So I like that they're giving information to try to like stop FUD and things like that.
And it was also nice too is that like it's an opportunity because Spaces is more interactive. So if you do have questions, you can jump on. They're bringing in experts. They are talking about, and again, and it's not just that if anyone got a chance to listen to that one, it was not just like a hype cycle of like, oh,
No.
USN is the best. It really talked about some of the pros and cons and things to be aware of and things to understand about it. And people were able to ask questions as well, and so it's a nice thing, and they'll be doing more of these.
Yeah, exactly. And the next one this week, they're doing a DeFi. So, and that's always a good thing. And in a bear market, I think that's when you want to learn DeFi.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
people always want to do DeFi, and I'm like, you want to do DeFi in a bear market into a bull. You don't want to start DeFi deep into a bull going into a bear market.
right,
I mean,
right,
that
right,
sounds simple. That's like the
yeah,
worst advice ever. I'm just like, you want to make money, not lose money.
right, right.
Um, what's the next story, Joe? I think this feeless thing. You've been really kind of tracking this with the fees and the votes.
Yeah. So Aurora Plus introduced something where, if you are an Aurora Plus member, there are no fees up to 50 transactions every month. And then there's other ways to gain even more of that.
By the way, I
And
love that. Hold on, sorry.
yeah,
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
hey everyone, we're trying to talk more back and forth with each other. Man, that Aurora Plus dashboard. Mwah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great, and that has kind of I think sparked something too on the direct near side of saying, we should be able to do that too. And there are certain transactions that don't really need to have a cost associated with it. They are really essentially just meta metadata based type of transactions, and so those aren't taxing the network. Those they could make free, and so this is one of the things that they're proposing of can we do the same thing on near directly as well as what Aurora is doing.
Okay, cool. What kind of transactions would that be? Like, would starting a wallet? Because I know having to have money to start a wallet, or is that one that actually needs to have a fee because it's like holding something?
Yeah, that one probably needs to always have a fee of some sort because it involves storage. So anytime you're using storage and something and kind of processing on there, it needs to you'll need some kind of gas fee and fee just in general as well. So it's interesting to see kind of what falls into that bucket. But it's they're starting this conversation, which is an excellent one to have.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the tech stuff that I always appreciate when you chat with me about it in our Discord messages. Cool. And so, okay, I did you track a lot of the SailGP NFT?
No, not
Me
really.
neither,
I
man.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
not a big sailing, sport type of follower, but I mean, I've read the press releases and things like that about what they're trying to do, and it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I, I just think it's cool to see where NFTs are going. I went to the New York NFT
Hmm.
or NFT New York, however. And it was so interesting because one, it was like, I went to a couple parties and things like that, and they were really packed. One we couldn't even get into. The line was so long, and like we just turned away one of the boat ones.
Yep.
And it was so cool to see. I was like, wow, 5 years ago, this was not what we were talking about in crypto. It was a very
No.
small group of people having very into the world conversations get Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now 5 years later, it's like it almost felt like club scene with like people with their NFTs getting ready to party, and it was whether people liked it or not because there was like mixed feedback. The fact people are doing stuff with NFTs is a great push forward.
No, absolutely. I mean, and reinforces the community. It reinforces, again, stuff we've talked about, like, even last week about,
Mhm.
bringing in that where I feel like I am truly part of this group. I'm showing ownership
Yeah.
to something, and so the Sale GP thing really, again, allows you to feel part of the team, and it kind of it's you leveraging some things around that, and I'm really curious to see as they continue what else they start to do with it.
Yeah, me too. So I'll be following that one.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. So this is much more down your alley. The sender wallet update or the news.
Yeah, so Sender Wallet is the extension, browser extension wallet for Near. It's one of the things, so if you're used to like MetaMask, things like that, Phantom, it's a browser extension versus the normal web wallet on Near. But what they've done now is they're integrating with the HAPI service, HAPI. And so what that is that's really more of a on-chain security protocol that's usually leveraged for like DeFi and things like that. And so just by them adding that in, it's just adding another layer of security into what they're doing. It allows the wallet to be more diverse and interact with more things easily. Because again, it's one of those protocols where DeFi's are using them as well, and so it allows everyone to talk to each other on a secure network a lot easier.
Basically, it's been a pretty crazy week with like decentralized and centralized.
I mean, I think the quick point there, right, is that maybe people don't really necessarily care when everything is just kind of working, right? But then all of a sudden, when things kind of stop working, your money's at threat, and you now do not have access to your funds. Now all of a sudden, you care that it's centralized. So the more that you can control your own stuff and control your own destiny, and have things in your own possession, and you know that the wallets that you're using are more secure, it's a win for everybody. So this is a nice upgrade.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, you said that great. And then Near is going towards decentralization, and they are doing their stake wars coming up,
Yes.
which we're excited about. We're throwing our
Yeah,
hat
no,
in
I
there.
mean, yeah, we're certainly going to participate in that. And Stake Wars is really neat this year, especially because they're going for the chunk validators.
Yes.
And so the chunk validators, again, that's part of the sharding system, so it fits the show nicely. Who sharded? But
Joe, we get to be a shard. Oh, I hope. If we could be a
we get to
shard,
help validate a shard.
we could help
Um,
validate a shard. Yes.
but yeah, so for these chunk only producers, so the Stake Wars this year, they haven't released all of the different information about it yet, but you can sign up on the website now. We'll put the link in the show notes. But what also, like last year when they did it, it was some different activities that you had to go through, and essentially it showed that like you knew how to run a validator. You could actually do that role properly, and that you were worthy of actually being able to run your own thing. And then it becomes kind of a competition. Some of the things are kind of competitive around it. There was a leaderboard and all that stuff. So same idea here. They're going to probably do some different activities and different things they have to go through. But that's coming up. And so, yeah, you can sign up on near.org/decentralize. And so that's going to be really interesting.
Oh, Joe. I mean, this is definitely. I feel like you're going to be doing the heavy lift on that, but I'm here with you.
It's okay. Yeah.
You're going to be doing the game. I'll be cheering you on.
Yeah. We'll get it done.
We'll get it done. Also, Near launches a Wiki. Wiki.
Wiki. Yeah.
I'm leaving that in. I don't care. So they're launching a Wiki.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, is that just basically like a nice message board?
No, a wiki is, kind of an extended documentation piece. So Near has really good documentation, but a wiki allows the community to actually update stuff. So, like
Oh, nice.
Wikipedia, right? So the community can now contribute. And so by them being able to do that again, it's bringing back the community into their documentation and information around the ecosystem. So again, more of this stuff available is always good.
Yeah, very excited about that. And now just to take, how I'm always talking about like social because I work a lot in that space of like social media, engagement, content. There's something coming down that's pretty interesting, which is so the Near Foundation awarded a $50,000 grant to Connect3
Mm-hmm.
to help the development of Web3 social profile in the Near ecosystem. All right, I've just looked around the website because it's not like active yet.
Mm-hmm.
I will be interested to see how. I don't want them to just do a Web 2 version of social media and try to like push it into Web 3. I really hope it's sort of a rethinking of what social media could be, especially to people who are really into the Web 3 and crypto space. Like,
Yeah, I'm with you. Right? Like we don't need to just rehash Twitter, right? Like
no.
it's more about can you build and innovate on it, and it's more than just owning your own data. So I'm really curious to see what they can do. And again, Near is well suited for this.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm like really interested because, okay, so say like you and I were growing a show or anybody who's growing a brand or whatever. So there's going to be tools to monetize in crypto.
Mhm.
That what does that even look like, right? So what does monetization look like in the crypto Web3 space? I mean, I kind of think that like NFTs are like the ultimate email list. They're like an
Sure.
anonymous email list. Like you have access to someone's wallets. You can do airdrops. You can basically reward super fans. You can break your it's not there yet, but I'm hoping somewhere like breaks up. So if you have all your NFTs, you can sort of like run lots of different metrics to get them against your NFT holders and figure out
Right.
all sorts of different like uses for that. I think that like
Yep.
how amazing is that? Like
I
better
think
than
it's
an email list.
yeah. I mean, they're really we haven't even scratched the surface of the possibilities here with this stuff, and so again, if it becomes a rehash, I'm not overly excited about that. But
No.
I'm really hoping that this is an opportunity for people to really innovate. And this first version might not be the one that really kind of kicks it off, but it might take some iterations. But I love the idea that people are really trying for it and seeing what they can start to do. Also, this week we announced Xeron, I guess how to say it, uh, announced integration to Aurora. So they are an EVM based wallet that again, it's just another opportunity to onboard more users into this ecosystem. So, as Aurora grows, it helps the whole entire Near network. The more, it's one of those things of like just the more of these type of whether it's a wallet or an app or whatever comes onto either Aurora or Near directly, it's a net positive. And so, again, it's another good step.
Or I really want to understand the relationship between Aurora and Near. And is it a forever relationship? Like, are EVMs sort of a bridging over the next few years until Near becomes like the foundation of everything? Or is Aurora going to grow alongside Near indefinitely? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. That is a great question of like how much does that grow? I mean, again, and as ETH continues to grow, and depending on what happens over there, like as that goes through its growing pains itself, how many people are on both places, how many people come
Mm,
leave ETH and come here, it just opens the door. And then also again too, just having that flexibility of if I'm a developer and let's say I learned the EVM first, right? So I'm that type of developer and now I want to come over and I don't want to be on ETH anymore. I have opportunities to now go someplace else
mm,
without having to learn a new skill set, right? So if I'm super comfortable in everything that comes along with building on the EVM, great, Aurora's right there for me. And again, I can also though have my project in multiple places, which again, the more cross chain type of stuff or opportunities in most places, it helps everybody. So I think Aurora is certainly going to continue to really grow, and it's going to play a huge part in the Near ecosystem.
mm.
And then we'll just have to see what it really looks like though long term, but I don't see it really dying down by any means.
Yeah, me neither. I really like it. It took me a second to like understand how it works with Near. Like anytime you start bridging or going cross chain, it just takes a trial. And I often wonder, like
Sure,
for someone like you and me, we've been doing this for a long time. I mean, how many wallets have we opened up and put on? Like, I have a computer just has like a ton of crypto wallets on it.
sure.
So for me, the exploration is the fun part. But for mass adoption, I just don't know if that's what everyone wants to do. And maybe it's not meant for that. Maybe it's maybe GameFi really brings on a large group of people, and then the next frontier, which we don't even know about, brings on a lot more people. But the
Right.
people more specifically into DeFi institutions, banks, then they're going to be the ones that take those extra couple steps to understand how EVM works and leverage it and all the ways that it can be leveraged.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
what's cool about this space, man. It is just like growing everywhere.
Yeah, it's constant.
It's pretty wild. Okay, Octopus Network featured in Standard Bank ZA's African blockchain report.
The report was basically talking about how different banks in countries in Africa are leveraging the blockchain more, and for all different services, not just banking. And there seems to be some really nice usage of the Octopus network in some of these
Mm,
things here, and so they were actually highlighted in here as
cool.
being one of these pioneers. And again, it's just we had Sheldon from Octopus Network on, and he talked all about how the ability to really kind of get up and running with your own chain is really easy and efficient with them. And so it doesn't surprise me that as countries begin to kind of adopt these technologies, whether it's again through banking or
Oh.
other reasons, to look at something like Octopus to get started with makes a ton of sense.
Oh, so like, could a bank in Africa, like just a bank, the Bank of Africa, I don't know any banks there, they could just spin up their own chain for relatively low costs and then do their own
Sure.
sort of banking within their
Hmm.
company, leveraging the Octopus Network security, which is leveraging the NEAR protocol security.
Hmm.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
in
I'm getting
theory, sure. Yeah, yeah. I don't know for sure. I didn't read the
yeah.
whole. I don't know for sure like what they actually were doing,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean that is essentially what the possibilities here, and so yeah, it makes a ton of sense to me that Octopus is a big player in this.
Yeah, and I've been watching Octopus Network, and man, once one of the it just takes one project for that thing to get on people's radar. Where one project goes in there,
Yep.
starts it, does it, has the option, because even in Sheldon's own words, like they want to grow people to then they could go to Polkadot or whatever, right?
Right.
But when that moment comes when someone's like has the option to go to Polkadot, is big enough and has the money and stays on Octopus Network, oh, that's gonna be a sweet time.
It's gonna be really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be
absolutely.
interesting, right? That'll be cool to watch. I look forward to when that happens. All right, Joe, and then we've got this I was really excited about because of all the people building projects. Is that NEAR Foundation launches smart contract audit program?
Yeah, this is. I was actually I tweeted about this last week. I mean, this was
Yeah.
really exciting to hear because one of the challenges anytime you have something new, and again on the blockchain, everything is pretty much financial based in some form. You want to make sure it's being audited. The challenge is right now is that like, how do I know I'm going to an auditor that I can trust? How do I know that I'm going to an auditor that knows this, actually not just blockchain, but near that is
Yeah.
going to be able to go through my code and properly review it. So by near setting up this system to allow to you get connected with people who can do this for you. And obviously, too, this can give you an opportunity to maybe get things that are not always too so expensive because there's more opportunities and more options. So this is great. Again, another net positive for developers. So really excited about it.
Yeah, it just seems like NEAR in the bull market is like, let's just build amazing things while no one's looking.
Yeah,
And then you and I are
yeah.
like,
I mean,
let's bring it to people's attention.
yeah. I mean, that's what it is, right? It's just we're gonna keep building tools. We're gonna keep giving you opportunities here, and there's no reason for them to slow down or stop because again, they have the funding. So let's just keep moving.
Yeah, awesome. Which they talk about the funding in their near future, which is nice to hear that they're definitely they've got enough funding to make it through a pretty long bear market.
Yep.
And then Joe, the last piece of news to talk about is NEAR released a new version of NEAR Core.
Yep.
Voting for the mainnet protocol upgrade is scheduled. So, can you walk our listeners through that?
Yeah, so all the different nodes and the validators, right? They all run the near core, and so at different times they'll be updated. And the way it goes is that like you need to make sure that you're updating your node that you're running, by a certain time and date. It's usually all laid out in this. Some of them or will be larger updates, some are smaller updates. This is more of a I don't want to say it's I guess more of a minor update. Like there's nothing really like news and noteworthy of this. But again, anytime you see these updates here, again, it's more improvement to the network. And depending on when you're seeing this, it starts it would be Monday the 27th. So just kind of people who are validating, they all know this. Like we're not giving the validators
Yeah.
any news, but
They're on
but
it. They better be.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things too, again, because the way blockchains and things like all work too, is that like when you push out these updates, it's not necessarily always immediately accepted. So the biggest example that people might be aware of is like when Bitcoin has like an update, you'll see like they'll release some notes about it and say, here's the thing. And then all of the validators who are out there has to be a consensus that they accept that update. And then that update is truly live across the network. So that's the kind of really what. So when they say like you're voting and things like that, the people who are actually running the validators, as they update it, they have to say yes. We have accepted this, and when the consensus is hit, then it's actually live on the network.
Wow. Cool. Well, there's lots of stuff going on, man. And then we're
Yeah.
gonna do one last thing at the end here, which is our mint of the week, because you and I minted something that like was pretty cool. I think it was really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, This was one I hadn't been following. I just happened to see it across Twitter, and it's called Near Nature.
Mhm.
And what they're doing is you mint the NFT. It's of a tree. They're the nice little pretty trees. And what's really cool is that they're then planting trees for each NFT that is sold.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're letting you be able to actually track this using the open forest protocol, which is built on top of NEAR. So you are getting something here that is truly tangible. It's really exciting because you're being able to actually know that I'm doing something for the good, and I can then track it using open forest protocol.
Exactly. And I really want to dive down into this project in open forest protocol because usually the philanthropy or the positive or the good is not always the driving factor. I mean, it's usually like a side effect of wild success, you know?
Yep.
And so seeing
Yep.
how they're starting early, I just want to know like what their thoughts are long term, short term. I just think it'd be really interesting because
Yeah.
I loved I mentioned it right when I saw it. You posted something. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Got my tree
Yeah.
too. And it's like one of those mints that didn't like sell out. It's probably just gonna be going for a while.
Well, because of what it is too, like there's no reason to cut supply, things like that, right? Like it's
Nah.
just so might as well just keep it running. And so, if there's still some available, I encourage people to check it out. It's a nice way to kind of continue to support different initiatives. And if you're interested in this type of, tracking and things like that, and seeing how these protocols actually work, it's an opportunity for you to kind of just, pay to play in a sense of like, oh, I get to actually now be part of this and have a hands-on experience. So, yeah, near nature, I would check it out.
Man, so that is the end of our second episode of Who's Sharded. And this one
Yep.
was powered by NEARWEEK. We want to give them a
Yes.
shout out. And there's a link to all these. Basically, there's a link to their newsletter that has all these articles. And I definitely suggest you go look at them because, especially if you're involved in the ecosystem, this is the stuff to.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out the links. Subscribe to the newsletter. It's worth it to you. It comes out every week. It's full of tons of information. Again, we've both been subscribers for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah. And in a bear market, it's always good to like take that time to understand things, right? Like it's really nice to just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is still happening, whether
Right.
near is $3 or near is $30.
Exactly.
So, all right, Joe.
Sounds
Well, it's
good.
been a pleasure talking as always, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Sounds good. See you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Ready Layer 1 is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. You should not make any decision, financial investment, trading, or otherwise based on any of the information presented in this podcast without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or financial advisory.